Hi, this is Keith from Lands of Grooves, and today we're going to be taking a look at a new, old Smith & Wesson. We're going to be taking a look at it. It's new to me, and it's relatively low usage, but I happened to run across a Smith & Wesson Model 19-3, and that's the K-frame chambered in .357 Magnum. So we're going to take a look at that. And we're going to do some comparisons and take a look at a few other weapons I have out here compared. This gun, its manufacturer serial number was 7K23366. And the best I can find on it was manufactured somewhere around February to April of 1975. I purchased this gun from a friend of mine who it was his uncle's, and it had sat a long time in the box. So he'd taken good care of it, however. But we're going to take a look at it in just a second. These guns, what I've read on, I didn't know much about them when I purchased it. I just knew it was a nice looking weapon, and it still had bluing, which nowadays is kind of hard to come by, and it's a very pretty weapon. To touch on real quick, the K-frame, 37.5 ounces. The Model 19-3 was the third revision of the 19, and we'll take a look at it now in the overhead. All these weapons on the table have already been cleared prior to filming. This here is in really good shape. As you can see, the wood grip. I've already taken it to the range and fired it, make sure everything was functioning. I shot 158 grain, 38 specials through it, and I shot .357 Magnum 158 grains through it. We're going to touch on a few things about this weapon. What I can say is I know they re-released the K-frame, and the grips are a little, I don't know if they want to call it up-to-date or a little more modern color, a little darker wood. I don't think they put as much gloss on it. But as you can see, this one here has a nice rear sight. There's no red ramp on the front on this one, but it is very clean and very good shape. The action is phenomenal on it. The hammer has a nice combat texture on it, very, very rough, easy to hold on to. The opening of the cylinder, very easy, very smooth. The extractor is very nice. No problems, no jamming. But yeah, it is very nice, and it is the model, of course, which has the firing pin on the hammer, which is always, I like. There is no gun lock in 1975-ish on the gun, so you don't have to worry about that if that's one of your concerns. I will say there's very little, if any, holster wear on it. And overhead camera should be able to get shot down the barrel. Very clean. We'll open it up, see if the light will pick it up. So yeah, so this was, I'll give you my rundown of how I felt when I shot this gun. It, I never really looked into a 19 because this gun being as heavy as it is, 37.5 ounces, nowadays, I mean, if you're going to be in that high weight class, you can get a different weapon. But I thought, well, this gun's in such good shape, I hate to see it go to someone that's going to throw it in a drawer and not take care of it. The original box is here. I don't know if that's the original box of this gun or not, but it certainly is a Smith & Wesson box. But anyway, I purchased the gun. I traded a Glock Model 43X for it that had already been altered and spring kits and things such as that with some Shield Arms mags, the high capacity mags. It was a great gun, but again, I wanted this 19 more. So doing the numbers on it, it was just about a break-even situation, but I did prefer to get a gun that actually is just about as old as I am. So I wanted this weapon. So anyway, after taking it to range, I shot it, and I found out something very interesting. In the overhead, you'll be able to see that I also have a Model 686 right here. This gun is a phenomenal shooter. It's in stainless. It basically is the same setup in .357 Magnum, 6 rounds. It just comes in, I believe, a little heavier at 39.5 ounces for the 686. So, and they're both 4-inch barrels. The overhead, you'll be able to catch that. But this is, I believe, this also doesn't have a lock on the mechanism. but I've never had any problems with the 686. It is a great training tool. I think it has the red ramp, the more modern setup on it. Still the same kind of hammer when you see it cocked. Firing pin still on the hammer. It's just a little beefier frame. But yeah, this gun has been great, the 686. After reading a bunch of information about the Model 19, there have been things out there in the forums, and being the gun so old, it's hard to find true Smith & Wesson paperwork on it. Wasn't with it. So my understanding is with this gun, you really only want to shoot 158 grain 357 Magnums or 38s through it. That they don't recommend you shoot a lot of hot ammo through it, like low grain, 125 grains, things such as this Underwood ammo. This is a 38 Special Plus P, 125 grain, 1250 feet per second, jacketed hollow point. I don't know if they're talking about 38 Special as well. I wouldn't believe the SAMI pressure is as high. But anyway, we're going to stay away from that lighter ammo, so there's no problem with the problems with cracking anything. So I've been shooting standard pressure 38s through it. This stuff is 158 grain, 968 feet per second, 329 foot-pounds, and this is just Norma standard 38 Special. The other stuff I shot through it at the range was this Golden Saber 357 Magnum. I shot some of this through it. Anyway, the Model 19, the thing that amazed me about it, I want to do this video on it, this particular weapon, I was surprised that shooting it, I had really low expectations. I thought, well, it's, almost 50 years old, and it's been in a box, and I mean, how could it compete with something, some new automatic or some new, revolver, even newer like this 686. But I can say this, after you shoot this K-frame, that you will realize how accurate, whatever they did back in the day, they really put a heck of a twist on these. And my understanding is this K-frame was designed for a lightweight law enforcement purpose that can handle 357 Magnums. And there's been forums all over the place. I'm not going to get into it whether it can handle a steady diet of 357 Magnums or not. But my understanding is that's why they developed this. So it is relatively light for a 357 Magnum. But its accuracy and the twist on the barrel is phenomenal. And like I said, shooting 38s and 357s through it, I'll be honest, I shot some 125s through it as well, just to see what happened. And I had zero problems with it. There were zero function problems, and I don't think it has enough hours on enough shots through it to even worry about it. But from now on, I'll just be shooting the 158 grain 357 mags or 38s through it. So when you look at the 686 and the Model 19, you can see from the overhead the differences between the double lug and things like that, and the red ramp, and this one's of course stainless, but a little beefier frame on this 686. So we'll move on to some other weapons that are kind of in their same category. If you should happen to run across this K-frame, I certainly wouldn't shy away from it. For the price point, if the bluing's in good shape, or even if it's a smaller barrel, I don't know if I'd go with a 6-inch, but it depends where you live at. But these K-frames are excellent value for the money. If you run across one that's clean, and whether it has the box or not, if someone's maintained it and you try the action out, I certainly wouldn't steer away from them, especially if you get a good deal, because these 686s are the price is up on them right now. If you buy a new one, you could be $950, high price on these new stainless Smiths. Where if you run across something like this that does the same job for $300, $400, maybe $500, why not buy the K-frame and have no problems, and you have less into it, half into it, you don't have to worry about it. The holsters are very available. So so I would certainly consider the Model 19, and I can just speak for the 19.3. I've had no troubles with it. I put maybe 200 rounds through it, 38s, 38 plus P, 357 Magnum, and it is extremely accurate. The action's still smooth, and like I said, there's not a lot of use on it, but after all this time, the wood has held up well. A very, very clean example of the overhead, a K-frame Model 19-3, and it is in very good shape. Very clean. So we'll set this aside. We'll cover a few other weapons. when you're looking at 357 Magnums, of course, you cannot overlook some of the Colts. And the Python, of course, being a larger weapon. If you're going to have 6 rounds of 357 Magnum, I certainly wouldn't look by the King Cobra. The King Cobra is, of course, smaller and lighter. I think it's like 25 ounces, somewhere on there. But it holds the same capacity as both those two. And, of course, you've got a shorter barrel on this particular model, but you can get a longer barrel. I will say that this is an extremely stout gun. The action is phenomenal on it. And this is probably one of the better actions on the table. I would say if I had to rate between these three, it'd go the Colt, the Model 19, and the 686, single or double. So this is an excellent gun, and you can carry this one. But the 19 for home protection, if you run across a deal on one, I would certainly consider it. And the other one I put on the table mainly just to compare some of the weights on these. This is the Model 360 PD, chambered in 357 Magnum with the scandium and alloy parts. It is extremely light. I want to say it comes in around 10 or 11 ounces. It weighs next to nothing. However, this gun, not enjoyable to shoot at all. If you're actually going to take it to the range and you're not just going to carry it on your person, then I would suggest one of these other weapons on the table. If you are going to strictly carry it and you're fine with a 5-round capacity, I would not look by the 360 PD. It is a phenomenal gun. It's just hard to hold on to, and if you need it, you don't have to run the 357 Magnums in it. You can actually run, it says any bullet greater than, I think it says 120 grain. So yeah, so anything larger than the 120 grain, you'll be fine with this. You won't push out the steel insert in the barrel. It's right here. So yeah, these are great for personal protection, but again, the Model 19, it's a really surprising gun. I don't think I'd have done this video had I not taken it to the range and see how accurate it was in comparison to some of these other guns. And that's even shooting one of my Blackhawks. All these guns have been cleaned and cleared. So, but yeah, even my Blackhawk with the spring kit in it is a phenomenal gun. Love to shoot it. Takes a little longer to reload than I would like, of course. But it is a great weapon. But as far as going to the range, if you want to have an enjoyable day or take a new shooter, this 19, I think as far as everything on the table, meets the bill, absolutely. 38 specials in it. Just go to the range, enjoy your day. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Take this K-frame out. Or if you already have the 686, no problem, same thing. A little heavier gun, a little nose heavy. But yeah, so we'll wrap this video up and move some of these aside, and we'll do a closing shot with the Model 19-3. Serial number was, I think I already got it earlier, 7K23366. And anybody, if you should happen to have the book out there that lists 7K23366, if my dates were off, please post it in the comments below. Best I could find out, it was maybe February to April of 75. So let me know, and that'd be great. I really would appreciate it. And again, thank you all for watching. We're doing the overhead camera shot without Day today, so we'll have to make do without him. However, our camera person today, Tay, she's doing a great job. So I want to thank everybody, and please ring that bell if you can and sign up for Lansing Grooves. Thank you very much. Have a good day. This is Keith.